Welcome to my oldest relative's interview. When were you born?
I was born on March 21st, 1947.
Wow. Where did you grow up? Tell the city and state as well.
I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I've lived in Michigan my whole life. And when I was born, something very exciting happened at that time for my parents because I was born at home instead of in a hospital.
As what your house was like and how many sisters and brothers you had.
Well, I had 2 sisters, so altogether there were 3 of us. We had a 2-bedroom home in Detroit, so all 3 of us shared one quite small bedroom, and we only had 1 bathroom in our house for the whole family.
Wow. What was your family's car like? How was it different than the cars today?
Well, my father used to own a Buick. At the time, that was a very popular vehicle, and they were huge compared to today's cars. We used to say it looked like a boat, and today's cars are real easy to steer. They have power steering and power brakes. My father's car did not. It was manual steering. It was very, very hard to steer it, and the brakes were very hard to stop the car. But being so big is what I remember the most.
So guys, we're gonna pause the video and put on one commercial. This is raspberry lemonade. It's 50% off at Kroger. And it's very fresh too. And I forgot to tell you guys, this is my flower grandma, and her name's Karen. What type of food did you eat? How was it different than the food that families eat today?
We were very fortunate because my father, who would be your great-grandpa, owned a butcher shop. And during the Depression and when I was growing up, we always had plenty of meat, fresh meat. So we ate a lot of it, and we used to eat big breakfasts almost every day, like bacon, eggs, sausage, toast, butter.
Yummy!
Yummy, but now we find out that wasn't very good for you, even though it tasted good.
What games and toys did you play with? How were they different than what kids have today?
Oh boy, our toys were way different. We didn't have anything electronic. We didn't even have anything with batteries when I was little. Everything was just wood and plastic, and we played with things, and one of my best games was jacks. You guys probably know what it is, but you roll them on the table, and then you bounce the ball, and you catch the ball, and you have to pick up jacks before the ball. And that was how sophisticated our games were 70 years ago.
What were your clothes like? Tell how the clothes were different than what the kids wear today.
Well, I wore a lot of dresses all the time, where a lot of times today you don't see that very much. A lot of my clothes were homemade. My mom used to sew, so she would sew a lot of my clothes to save money. And I don't think a whole lot of children today get homemade clothing. So that's how it was different.
What did your family do for fun include holiday celebrations and vacations?
Oh boy, my father, because he owned a business, we didn't get to do a whole lot of things together as a family because he was always working. But when we did, we used to go to the lake, to a park on a lake, on Lake St. Clair, and swim. And I also used to fish with my dad. I think that's why my grandson here is such a good fisherman too. It's in his genes.
What was school like?
I went to a Catholic school, so it was very strict, and we had nuns that taught us, and we used to call them sister. And we had big classrooms. One teacher would have 60 children in her classroom, and she'd
Wow.
teach all the subjects. And we had to be very polite, and when someone came into our room to visit, we had to stand up and say, we'd say like, "Hello, Father Henry," or we had to be very polite. And I think that's a little bit different than today's schools.
What was your phone and TV like? And how did people get information?
Boy, my telephone was connected to a wall, and it only had a cord that was about that long. So anytime you wanted to talk, you had to just stand by that telephone and you talked on it, and you had to dial it to get a number. It was called a rotary dial. And you had to share your line with other people. It was called a party line. So sometimes you'd pick your phone up to make a phone call, and you'd hear someone else talking on it. And that would be the other party that was part of the line.
What was your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, I think one of my best memories, I think I was about 5 years old, and it was Christmas time, and it was the last present. Everything else was open, and my mom and dad brought in a big box, and it had a big bow on the top, and I opened it up, and there was a puppy inside. And
What's its name?
we named her Cindy. And that I'll always remember.
Is there other interesting information?
Well, one thing I forgot to say about school is we wore uniforms. So that means everybody, all the girls wore the same thing and all the boys wore the same thing. So there wasn't any kind of competition. And I don't know, my childhood was very fun. Played outside all the time. And how we got to call people out, I'd go, "Zachary, Zachary." I'd stand by your door and I'd yell until somebody answered. And that was fun.
Bye, guys. This was my oldest relative information.
Bye.
Bye.